United, it's been a roller coaster. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Where you can see him finishing and see where he can maybe average around.
Yeah.
But just as long as he isn't constantly crashing. And
Like, what was it?
You
There was
know?
one driver that was constantly crashing. Oh, the Russian dude at Haas,
yeah.
Mazepin. Yeah, I remember Mazepin. Yamal has done more than all of them.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Even like Cole Palmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I can put Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer, I
Lamine
don't think he's
Yamal.
in the conversation.
I think like if you were to tell me like, would you rather have Cole Palmer or Lamine? I'd rather have Lamine.
Oh yeah. Hello everybody, and welcome to the channel. You might not know us. Well, you may know me from other little projects that I have going on, but my name's John, and this is
Gio.
And we're starting a little podcast, a little type channel where we talk about Formula One and soccer, because obviously we're both soccer fans and we're both Formula One fans. And I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Gio, and he's gonna kind of give him a little rundown of himself.
So my name is Gio. I am a Chelsea fan, and I am also a Red Bull fan. And although I am one of those fans, I have been taking it a little bit more casually. Just because I've been paying attention to a few more other sports at the moment. So kind of been focusing a little bit more on that football, in other words, for fantasy reasons, purely for fantasy reasons. Bears fan, in case any of you guys were wondering. But yeah, so I've been paying a little bit more attention to that aspect. But now it's time to get back into my original love, which is soccer and F1.
Nice. And for those of you guys that are just meeting me or don't know really anything about me, so I'm a Manchester United fan. Barcelona, I have a soft spot for Barcelona, because I know one of you, if you guys have seen my TikToks, have been really upset about me saying that I support two teams, but I digress. And in terms of F1, I'm a Ferrari fan. Forza Ferrari. And my favorite driver was actually Sebastian Vettel, so it's kind of surprising that I'm not a Red Bull fan, but I loved the Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari era.
Oh, yeah.
I was so close to being the perfect era of like, oh my God, Sebastian Vettel, he's gonna stop Mercedes and win Ferrari their first driver's title.
No, yeah, definitely.
And it didn't happen, but ever since then, I've just been a Ferrari fan.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And so would you like to talk a little bit about how do you think Chelsea see, because there's no games going on. We're actually filming this in the international break.
International break, yes.
How do you think Chelsea season's going so far? Like, are you happy with it? Are you?
I would probably say it's been at least eventful.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of, I would say, dumb mistakes that a lot of players typically make. Like Robert Sanchez against Arsenal. Oh my God, I do not love it seeing whenever he is in between the sticks for us. But that's just my personal opinion. But I never really went into this kind of thinking that we'd be like champions
or challenging for
challenging for the Premier League. I know for a fact we're gonna get the conference league. That's the one That's the one trophy that I feel like we should definitely win.
We need to win it.
We need to win it, and I mean, honestly, like, although we are in the conference league, like, not a lot of. It'd be an interesting thing to say that we've won all the Europa trophies.
Oh, the trophies,
which some teams wouldn't want to say that they've won. But, I mean, when you're just a team winning and you just want to
when you want to see your team winning,
if you just want to see your team, like Newcastle have just seen their team won their first trophy in 70 years, Like,
I've seen everybody crying.
Seen everybody crying, which is really kind of eye-opening in my opinion, because like
we're spoiled.
Being spoiled as we are, with the teams that we support, we are able to see our teams kind of win something every year, especially with Formula One as well.
Yeah.
At least having
Ferrari haven't. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, but like at least knowing that like
we're fighting.
You're fighting now. Yeah. You're more in contention now with the races you have, especially with Hamilton. Yeah. So stuff like that. But with Chelsea, I think it's been pretty solid. But other than that, I mean, other than winning this conference league, I mean, I feel like establishing ourselves, remaining in the top 6 is probably where I would love to.
It's like an establishment season.
Yeah,
we got to solidify ourselves.
Yes, exactly. We've had these players for, although we keep fucking signing more, we keep signing more. I don't understand why we keep signing more, but
if I can't win, nobody can win.
Literally, it's gotten to that point where, like, the other day we were playing Neto. as a
yeah.
striker. You
Yeah.
know, I was like, I looked at that lineup and I was like, you mean to tell me that out of all the players we have, you looked at that team and said, I'm putting Neto.
That's the team.
I'm
This is
putting
it.
Neto as our striker. You know, like it's just some like those aspects where I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, okay.
You know,
So you still have some frustration.
I still have definitely a lot of frustrations, but I mean, it's a growing pains.
Yeah,
And
it's
with such a
growing pains.
big team, like,
Yeah.
what more can you expect? You know. But
Yeah.
how about yourself?
In terms of United, it's been a roller coaster. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest with you. I really came into this season thinking Ten Hag's third season. Oh boy, he's actually getting some of the players that he wants finally.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's gonna go good. We're definitely gonna be top four. We might challenge for a title, and then it kind of just all went to all went in the toilet basically. So. Honestly, I've kind of written this season off as a United fan. Not in the
Alright.
sense that I've liked to written it off, but
Yeah.
we're not getting top four. Obviously, like we're not even getting top six. Our only hope of qualifying for the Champions League is winning the Europa League,
Okay.
which I think we have a chance. If Ruben Amorim continues to build on it. Which
Yeah.
Ruben Amorim is another one that I was shocked to see him actually get signed because he was the right option.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he was the right option.
so?
Which I'm not used to my team
Making.
making the right option.
Okay.
Or at least the owners making the right option.
Yeah.
But we have seen the growing pains, obviously, with it's a Ten Hag squad. Now we're trying to learn to play a three at the back system.
Yeah. Which I mean.
So,
isn't always gonna.
and now I'm even more worried because a lot of the things that are coming out of my team is, we don't have money, we can't sign players this summer. Well, what's going to happen? Because Amorim is a completely different manager. He's going to need his own set of players.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this season I've written it off. I'm hoping that we qualify for the Champions League through the Europa.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting next season to be another tough season based on this season, unless we sign players, unless we sign the right players. But roller coaster of a season.
Yeah,
I wouldn't actually. I wouldn't say I'm happy with the season,
Yeah.
but I'm also not as sad with it. Like it could have been worse. Realistically, I think it could have been worse.
Okay. That's not bad. Where are you guys at now?
I think we're in 15th as of recording this, in the Prem. It could have been worse. The way Ten Hag was shaping up at the beginning of the season, I think we could have been 18th.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
It's gonna be our lowest points ever in a Premier League season, ever. But
Well,
it is.
I mean, I can't say anything. We ended up 10th then.
I was gonna say you guys have had like
no.
stinker seasons recently,
So, I can't really say much for.
but I guess you're lucky
My
because
season.
you've been spoiled in terms of F1.
Yeah.
Except this year. This year's kind of shifted.
No, definitely 2023 really good. I mean, we won nearly every race. But at that time I really wasn't paying too much attention to it because once you start, not to be like bragging that once you start winning it gets kind of like whatever.
Well, man, we're just gonna win again.
But once you have like Verstappen racing in it sucks because Red Bull kind of seems like it's built around Verstappen, which is really,
we're seeing that problem this year, especially.
and that's the one thing that I really didn't like, and the fact that we are really pull trigger happy, like whenever
Getting rid of drivers. You're gone.
And I think that's extremely unfair because if you think about it, like they've built the car around such a unique driver that it's really hard to come across another driver who's able to handle that car.
Yeah.
And Perez I feel like was at least
more competitive than Lawson.
Yeah, more competitive than Lawson. So when I don't even know why did he end up?
Why you guys got Lawson?
Yeah, why we ended up getting him in the first place.
The way I saw the Lawson thing was Sonoda had his issues with Red Bull, and I think Red Bull Christian Horner didn't want to deal with the issues of Sonoda.
Yeah,
and
because I would have thought Sonoda would have.
There really is no one else though, like Antonelli, who I guess would be the closest thing to a Verstappen driving style, is a Mercedes driver. Leclerc is not getting out of Ferrari.
No, he's locked.
Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri share McLaren for a while.
No, for a while.
There really was
so young.
Yeah, there really was no one else.
Yeah,
I guess you could have put a Carlos Sainz.
And why not? He was one of the more level-headed racers. He was more, he has experience. Like who else are you gonna want to nab?
It was a surprising thing to see Lawson come
in.
in.
You didn't want Fernando Alonso,
If I was a Red Bull fan,
Like-
I'd like Fernando Alonso. I think he's still got
He
fight in
still
him.
got it, but like at his age, he's in his
Yeah.
40s. You know, like
I think he would have clashed with Verstappen a lot, which would have been
think
funny
so?
for from a third person's
third party
perspective.
perspective. No, I agree. It would have brought a little bit more, I guess,
Kick.
drama and
Although
more
the Red
drive
Bull,
maybe for
the
for
Red
both
Bull
of them.
is a little weak this year. I mean, Verstappen is definitely dragging it up.
He is. I think it's just. Well, I feel like it's just once you get to a certain point, I feel like he just doesn't care as much as he does or as he did, in a sense.
Maybe.
Because it's like
It's early to burn out though for a driver. I mean, Verstappen is still young.
It is, and he's. But at this point, like he's won so much that like.
There's really no competition
There's no competition
until this year.
Until this year, exactly.
I feel like this year we're gonna see a better Verstappen.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. With all these changes. With
But now the car isn't where it needs to be.
Yes, and that's where he's gonna have to at least make do with what
He has for now.
has, especially because it's such a long season ahead. Like they can obviously make
The
tweaks.
longest F1 season.
They can make
date.
tweaks to the car and however it responds to him. But that's my only thing.
Yeah.
It's getting really frustrating to the point where like we can't maintain a second driver
That yeah.
because they've built a car to one specific driver.
Who's so unique. That's the issue.
Exactly.
It's just
It's so
Verstappen is
unique.
so like
Yeah.
Verstappen. Like you could say like, okay, well this driver is kind of like this driver, so it kind of works.
Yeah.
There is no driver like Verstappen.
Exactly. And so I feel like no matter who you're gonna put in that car, they won't like when they put what's his name, Alex
Alex Albon,
yeah,
eventually,
Alex
way
Albon.
back in a while.
Exactly. Once they put him in, thinking that he was gonna be the next number
Yeah.
2, and they only gave him one season, and then they cut him. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, dude, like, what can you do
As a Red Bull driver.
a Red Bull driver besides besides not
Give in to
fucking give
Verstappen.
give in to Verstappen because he is gonna be the
one.
who wins the whole time, and just competing,
Yeah.
getting on the podium.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chico was able to do that enough. To an extent,
yeah, relative, yeah.
To what his other teammates probably could have
Honestly,
done.
I feel like Checo would still be here if McLaren didn't win the constructors last year.
Think so?
If McLaren didn't win the constructors last year, Checo would still be here. But because Checo's, I guess, bad finishes cost Red Bull the constructors for what it would have been a third year in a row.
Yeah.
I think they were
I
like,
can see that. I can see that being like the cut of the final straw as to why they decided to.
honestly, surprisingly,
No.
I would have thought Red Bull. Well, from a fan's perspective, it would have been interesting to see a Lewis Hamilton Max Verstappen team
Yeah.
after
No,
the whole
I agree
fiasco.
with
But I know why it didn't happen, obviously.
yeah.
And now for
And-
Hamilton's at Ferrari.
Yeah. So when that whole thing was going on, again, I wasn't paying attention. I only found that out because I started
Yeah.
watching Drive to Survive
Oh, okay. Yeah.
recently. So when I was watching that whole thing coming out, I was once again
I think,
kind of like, damn, I didn't realize.
I've had
This
some
was
comments on
kinda
like
going
I've had some comments on my other channel where like somebody was like, "Oh, Hamilton is just kind of washed. He doesn't have that fight." And when I was like, I think Hamilton still has the fight, like to want to win a world title."
I think that's why he went to Ferrari.
Yeah.
And
And I think this is the best Ferrari cars of this, I guess, like regulation so far.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
that it's been very unfortunate now with the double disqualification in China, because both Ferraris being disqualified from the Chinese Grand Prix was interesting. But
Yeah.
I think the Ferrari is definitely the best chance it's been, at least the strongest Ferrari as like it's been, other than 2022. But obviously the Red Bull was just supreme in 2022.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see that dynamic develop between Leclerc and Hamilton, because obviously Leclerc is the crown prince of Ferrari,
Yeah.
and Hamilton being, I guess, the established veteran, quote unquote. I still think that Hamilton will win in the Ferrari. It may not be this season. I think there's obviously it's very early in the season, so like it still could be Hamilton. And I actually predicted that Hamilton, or at least one of the Ferrari drivers will win the drivers, and the Ferrari will win the constructors. But I did predict in my 2025 predictions that none of the Ferrari drivers would lead the title charge,
Okay.
or Ferrari would lead the constructors until the very end. I think it's gonna be one of those seasons where like they'll be there, like in and around it.
Yeah.
And then the last like
The final
4 or 5 races, it'll be like, oh, now we're like now for some reason it just happened.
Yeah, everything connected.
But it's gonna be an interesting season.
No, it is.
It's the most
It's-
competitive season
No, definitely.
in a while.
And my thing is, there's a lot of rookies.
Yeah.
Like there is.
Bortolero, Hajar, Antonelli's a rookie technically. Berriman's a rookie.
So four
Rookies, yeah.
So that'll be interesting seeing how they.
The midfield battle happens.
Yeah.
Lawson is technically a rookie, but like he's in a top car. So I
So
wouldn't.
five?
I guess 5 rookies because he's battling at the back, but realistically, Lawson in that car should be higher up. Like he shouldn't
Yeah.
be battling Ollie Behrman
But-
in the Haas.
No, definitely. And again, it's just the level of driver you are with the
Which-
I guess car that you're given.
It's crazy because I've seen reports already that Red Bull are thinking about getting rid of Lawson.
Which I think is again
2 races.
is the
2
reason,
races.
which sucks because like it is the reason why we lose so many drivers is
Yeah.
because of the car. But I think they just gotta give him time. You know, everything.
So you
takes time.
would give Lawson time right now,
maybe if 1 or 2 more races, see how he.
and
Well,
if he doesn't improve,
yeah, because I mean the last one, how many people crashed too? You know.
you're saying Australia, right?
Yeah.
Where like it was 6 people crashed out, I think.
Exactly. You know.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like these first couple of races, like he's a new
Give him-
give him at least 4, 5,
4 or 5
Not to the
races.
point where you're so far into the season where you're like, all right, now it's unsavable.
Unsavable.
But at least enough races for him to be like, all right. Like the first 2 races, I feel like is much more of a filling out process, like filling out the car.
Okay.
Because you can do that as much as you want to do that when qualifying and sprint races and all those other things.
There's not like a race
Exactly. It's not like an actual race.
where the car's heavy at the beginning. and-
Exactly.
yeah.
Car's heavy at the beginning. You're fighting wherever you qualify.
Yeah.
You know, technically. So if you qualify where he is, he has a long way.
Yeah, but I would say that the Red Bull is still like say Max Verstappen had like a bad qualifying for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, right? I feel like Max in Lawson's position could have brought that car back up.
He could have, but that's through the experience.
Yeah.
That he has. You know.
Okay, so say right now Lawson
Mm-hmm.
sacked. Who does Red Bull turn? Who does Red Bull
Dude,
turn to?
I would hope he goes. They go signs.
Signs, but like
Oh,
Signs
Sainz.
signed
Oh,
the
really?
contract with Williams. He's at Williams. It's not like, I mean, unless you buy him out, I guess.
No, well then who? I guess it would be Fernando Alonso. Well then who?
Because even Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin, you're also gonna have to buy him out from
Mm-hmm.
the contract. The only Red Bull team you have are
Sonoda.
you have Sonoda, which is I guess the most likely one
Yeah,
to purchase to bring up because it's technically a junior team.
unless you bring up.
Unless you bring somebody from outside of Formula One,
Yeah.
but then it's like, well, how long are they? Because there is a driver out there. There is one out there
Who?
that is technically a free agent.
Who?
That's not in a seat. It's Daniel Ricciardo. The revival of the battle. Because he's technically out of a seat.
back into the.
He's out of a seat.
Get him back
He's not
into the
racing in
Red
any
Bull.
other championship right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could put in your third driver, but I don't know. I feel like
I don't even know who the third driver is.
yeah, I mean, honestly, she has been covered that I don't even know, and I watch
Mm-hmm.
F1 religiously.
Well, and clearly I don't because I thought 2 people I said were signed already.
Yeah.
But Daniel Ricciardo, back in a Red Bull
After a year out of F1,
after
basically.
a year at F1, I don't think is the best.
I think it would be
Move.
box office, though.
You think so?
I think it would be
It would be it would be an interesting storyline. Him coming back, him trying to make a
redemption against Verstappen.
You know, against Verstappen, the guy who basically
kicked him out.
kicked him out. You know, Ricardo was supposed to be the face of Red Bull
for a while at least.
and then Verstappen came up and
I,
claimed his seat.
if I was a Red Bull
So-
driver, I would be looking out.
You know,
I would be looking at him.
But I mean, why not? Like, if you feel like if Lawson is ultimately cut, you could give it to him. It'll make for an interesting storyline. Don't get me wrong, because it is true. Like
There is nobody else though. Like realistically, there is nobody else.
yeah. Well,
Unless you give one of the other team's third drivers or one of their rookie drivers a shot. Like
but
you have
if
Joe at
that's the
Ferrari.
case, why would you? If you're gonna give another rookie a shot, why
Yeah.
would you cut your own rookie?
I guess, but it just goes back to the fact that Red Bull's trigger happy. Realistically, Christian Horner is a
ultimately.
trigger happy person.
Yeah. No, and I agree with it. It's something that I feel like everybody should be able to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully they get over it, bro. Like ultimately, like these things take time. Like
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like whoever
yeah.
comes in is gonna have to gel to the car because the
You
car
know,
is clearly
exactly.
set up for a Verstappen.
exactly Verstappen type of driver, and the odds of you getting that next Verstappen driver back in Red Bull is so slim that why not?
I mean, you already lost them out because Antonelli is theoretically the way Antonelli drives is the closest to
Two.
of Verstappen,
And so it's like, if
but
you
he's
want-
a Mercedes, and
yeah, and there's no way that
It's happening, yeah.
that would happen. So it's kind of like,
well,
know?
who?
yeah, like it's like, what can you do? I mean, yeah, just give the kid, give the guy a little bit of time, say at least 2 more races.
Yeah.
If he crashes in those 2, then I would say, yeah, give him.
If he crashes, if he
Yeah.
finishes,
If he finishes, I'd say, all right, maybe
Another one.
another race after that, just so that way to see where he finally, where you can see him finishing and see where he can maybe average around.
yeah.
But just as long as he isn't constantly crashing. And
Like, what was it? There was
know?
one driver that was constantly crashing. Oh, the Russian dude at Haas,
yeah.
Mazepin. Yeah, I remember Mazepin.
Magnussen.
No. Nikita Mazepin, but we call him Mazepin. Everybody called him Mazepin.
Oh, I remember Maz's.
Yeah, the one in the Haas, and his
Yeah.
dad bought part of Haas, and that's why he was in the seat.
The seat.
Yeah, but then he got
Oh.
kicked out because of the whole Russia thing. But
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
If he's not pulling a Mazepin, then I guess he could buy himself some more time. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean that's just the biggest thing. Like
That's time.
and it kind of sucks. Yeah, it is just gonna be the time it takes for him to gel to the car, make sure that he's able to at least properly handle it,
Understand it.
understand it, because it's like, dude,
The arrow on the car is definitely.
yeah, man. Especially when you're, what was he? Was he racing an F1?
He was an F2, yeah.
Exactly.
He was
So
an
if you're jumping from an F2 car
into an
to
F1.
an F1 car, and it's
But
automatically one of the best cars made for a specific driver,
Yeah.
that you don't drive anything like.
Yeah.
It's like, all
That's
right,
the
dude.
issue, though. It's just that's the issue because it's really like some drivers prefer oversteer, some
Mm-hmm.
drivers prefer understeer, some drivers prefer a completely balanced car.
Yeah.
Whereas the Verstappen era is just so. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but so uniquely Verstappen that even with a whole winter of like preparation, it's still gonna be a while until a driver gets used to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no way that Lawson could be.
Which I think they've shot themselves in the foot for the foreseeable future, because now they're constantly going to be in a spot where they are looking for a number 2,
Yeah.
and God forbid he leaves.
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, now you got a car nobody is able to
Yeah,
handle in that
Verstappen
sense,
leaves Red Bull, but I feel like Verstappen leaving Red Bull wouldn't be like a shock deal. Like it wouldn't be like, oh, surprisingly Verstappen's not. Like they would know that Verstappen's leaving, so they would start building the next car.
But then it's like, what? Like
Who's the number one?
Let's do a I guess a Hamilton, reference. Like let's say he says in the beginning of the season, like I'm done.
I'm
after
done.
this season.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, all right, now we got to focus on. Now we got to use this whole season. I guess in concept it's good, but like, what are you just gonna suddenly?
Well,
This guy's leaving. Like, are you just gonna stop making improvements to his car so you can only focus on the next year's car?
I feel like in that case, Red Bull would have to take the decision: do we just focus on write off next year to try to win another title with Verstappen, or do we write off this year and build the car like the upgrades around whoever the second driver is,
Exactly.
or who will become the first?
second driver?
first driver.
Who will become the first driver?
So it's a sacrifice. It's basically what Red Bull decides to do then.
Yeah, then in should that situation ever occur,
I think you're a while away from it though.
but it's something that
You're at least 3 years.
But who knows? Something else could pop up and Verstappen can say, "Never mind, I want out of here.
I want out.
I want out."
I mean, I guess, yeah.
And what team wouldn't take up the opportunity to try and?
Well, realistically, there's only 3 other teams that he could go to, because he's not gonna.
But it's still an opportunity for 3 other teams
Yeah.
to
Like he's
replace
realistically
their
right.
number 1 with him.
He's not gonna go to an Aston Martin, at least
No.
at their current state.
No, he's
Because
not.
right now Aston Martin's regressing. Mm-hmm. He's not going to a Haas.
No.
He's not going to maybe a Williams in the future because Williams are looking like they're on the path back to the top. He's not going to a Sauber or whatever the Sauber team is becoming. I'm pretty sure they're going to become the new Audi team next year.
Okay.
So realistically, it's Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren. It's maybe Ferrari after Hamilton leaves because I don't think Hamilton's going to be here for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like 2 or 3 years of Hamilton at Ferrari. But then you have an issue of, oh, well, you have the crown prince of Ferrari, Leclerc, versus now Verstappen. So I don't think Ferrari would do it. It's really up to McLaren and Mercedes, and honestly, I feel like he'd pick Mercedes because at Mercedes he'd be the number one. At McLaren, whoever you get rid of, Piastri or Norris, one would always still have this claim, like the stake of the claim to the number one driver.
Yeah, for McLaren.
So
no matter where,
realistically, it would be to a Mercedes, but even at Mercedes, you have a young rookie that's very promising, Antonelli.
Yeah.
And you have the rookie that's now become number one, Russell,
George
who's
Russell.
also very promising. So
yeah,
it's,
and so it's like, why? But then again, you only get one opportunity to sign
Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen. So it's like, what do you do then?
Yeah, like what do you do? Like
What do you do then?
Do you pull a Ferrari and basically kick Sainz out for Hamilton?
Exactly.
I mean, not kick Sainz out, but like it was kind of like,
it was
pushing.
they pushed him out the door. They kind of
It's an interesting
concept. It's an interesting theory, or at least
interesting thing to think about.
Premise.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows? It's a long season. Hopefully, it doesn't happen in this season.
It's not Verstappen. I think you have at least you're secured for at least another 2 years for sure, 3 years probably, 4 years.
But who knows? Maybe if he stops winning in this car, maybe he's like, "Fuck it, I don't want to.
I want out.
I want out."
Yeah, maybe.
Which he's not used to constantly losing. Like if he's constantly losing and he finally is like, "Dude, I'm tired of like."
Is he gonna have like the Fernando Alonso temperament at McLaren?
Yeah.
When McLaren and Honda came back in, and he was like, "This car is a GP2 engine. I want out. Let me out." Maybe. I mean, he might have that temperament.
So it's like, because he does very much have that dog mentality where it's I want to win. It's about me.
I want to dominate.
I want to dominate. So if Red Bull isn't causing him to dominate, he's gonna go somewhere that will.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can fix it. Hopefully they can fix their issues that they've been having so far in these first 2 races.
I think definitely the Red Bull will definitely be back up towards the top.
I would expect them.
Unless they're changing their focus completely to next year, because next year we're getting all new regulations again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're changing like certain engine regulations. I think is engine. So unless Red Bull's already like, well, the car's good enough, I guess, to compete. Let's just focus on next year.
Okay.
Which I feel like a lot of teams towards the halfway mark of this season will be like, okay, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're focused on next year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's usually how it goes after a certain point. Like, if you know you're not going to win, it's all right, well, let's
it's for most teams. Yeah.
Next season, But, so I agree.
Now, one final segment of this little intro, right?
Okay, yes.
I want to ask you, you have to pick your Chelsea 5-a-side. Who are you picking? Chelsea 5-a-side. So goalie, center back, 2 mids, and a striker, or an attacker.
Ooh, I would say, well, this is gonna be me from like very new gen, new gen of players, since that's mainly what I've seen.
What you know?
What I know, I should say. You can always watch as many highlights as you want, but as I was never actually able to see
like
them
watching them play,
as a full game in a sense. I love watching Oscar.
Okay.
I would always say Oscar.
So Oscar's one of your middle. So Oscar and Drogba.
Oscar, Drogba have to be up there.
Okay.
Goalie's a little tough. I feel like we haven't had like too crazy of goalies. The only one of the big ones that come to mind, of course, is always Courtois.
Okay.
Courtois is always one of the ones that always pops up to mind. But then, of course, you have like
your Petr Cechs.
Yeah, your Petr Cechs and club legends. So of course you can't forget about people like him. But I would say for what he's done, I would of course say Petr Cech over Courtois.
Petr Cech.
Because Courtois, like, he just dipped, bro. Like for what he did,
he got the Real Madrid.
He got the Real Madrid contract and he left. Contract and he left. He said, "Oh, that's where my family's at." That's where I've been wanting to go, so that's where I'm going.
So bye.
Type shit. Bye. You know? So in that aspect, I'm like, dude, all right, you could have at least, like, done something a little bit better, but as soon as he got that contract, he dipped.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very hard for me to have, like, that sentiment to him. So I'd
Yeah.
say Courtois, or not Courtois, Petr Cech,
How to check?
Didier Drogba,
Okay.
Oscar.
Okay.
One of my favorite defenders was recently is Reece James, of course.
You're putting Reece James?
Well, no, he's had too injury prone. So,
Okay.
but for a little while, I really liked Ivanovic.
Ivanovic. Okay.
Ivanovic was one of my favorite fullbacks. And then
Your last mid.
my last mid.
I think there's
Of
only
course,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, there's only
Hazard.
one. It's Hazard.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
there's only one.
So that would be my 5.
You're
I feel like
fair.
that's a pretty solid 5. Ivanovic was a rock.
Yeah.
Was a rock.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, I'd probably say those 5.
That's not a bad team. Yeah.
Pretty solid
That's
5.
not a team. I would for a United one.
about you?
Because I've been watching United since I was little.
Yeah.
So like, I would honestly pick a Edwin van der Sar as a goalie.
Really?
Edwin van der Sar as a goalie.
Yeah,
The only other
yeah.
one would be a De Gea because
Okay,
I didn't catch Michael obviously. Mm-hmm. But it would be a De Gea, but I think Edwin van der Sar edges him.
Yeah,
Because I think
yeah.
Edwin van der Sar was slightly better with his feet, but they were both incredible shots.
And it's like one of those like De Gea's career near in the end, it like
It ended
started
badly,
falling
yeah.
off a little bit, and he not that he tainted his legacy there, but that's what people are going to remember you for.
Like remember him the
Sometimes.
bad saves at the end,
Yeah,
but I
exactly.
choose to remember De Gea as the guy that literally saved us.
Yeah, no, definitely.
For, like, season after season after season,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally forever.
But I would pick Edwin van der Sar. I would pick Vidic
Okay.
as my
Really?
Yeah, Vidic.
Okay.
It's between Vidic and Ferdinand. Wait, no. Yeah, no. I'd pick Ferdinand. I'd pick Ferdinand as Rio Ferdinand as my center back
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
because just I mean he's Rio.
Yeah.
I mean
No, of course. Like,
yeah.
why would you
who
not?
are you? Yeah,
Yeah, why would you not?
there are others obviously, but
Yeah.
one of the wingers has to be Ronaldo.
Of course.
It has to be,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which leaves me with a striker to pick and another midfielder winger. Honestly, it's gonna be a shock, but I would pick Nani.
Real, well,
Yeah.
I guess I could see where you're coming from.
He's not the
I like
best,
the way he played.
But I like the way he played. He was
Yeah.
that flair player.
Yeah, that flair. Player,
flair
so I
player.
could see. I could see that.
I'd pick Nani.
Yeah.
And then as the striker, a lot of great options.
Oh, of
you
course.
have. Honestly, even Edison Cavani did good for his time at United. I'm not picking him
For
but
his
he did-
couple of,
for his couple of seasons.
Seasons there, yeah. No,
He did
definitely.
good. You have obviously you could put in Ibrahimovic, but
Yeah, no, of course.
yeah, no. You could put in a Van Persie, but no. From what I've seen, from what I know, I would pick a Rooney. Like it would have to be a Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
Uh,
No, for
I mean,
sure.
you have like, I guess you could go with the hipster option, maybe like a Rashford in his prime, but for me, no, not anywhere
That's
close.
his very new. But even then, he hasn't been doing it. He didn't do it as
Consistently or as long, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my team is very old school though. Like,
No, that's fair. Which is fine. You know, it's just because clearly you've been watching it longer than me.
Yeah.
I only started watching it back when in like middle school, so around like 2014. So I
My
missed
first
out
United
on
game-
so many
My first United game that I remember was when I was flicking like I said this in my TikTok on my other channel. I was flicking through the TV remote back in the old school days when you had like the guide and everything.
Yeah.
And I saw Man United, and I didn't know what it was, so I just clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh, I like this." I had already liked soccer, like I had already been playing, and
Yeah.
obviously my family raised me as a Barcelona fan.
Yeah.
So, but I found United, and yeah, ever since then.
Yeah, no,
So I grew up in the 2007.
no, for me, I was watching football pretty early on. So I like watching
Oh, you were a football, like the Bears,
yeah, I was
right?
like the Bears growing up. So I was watching the Bears a lot of the times growing up, like Jay Cutler and stuff like that as a quarterback. So that's what I remember. And then right around the 2014 World Cup
Is when you got it.
Yeah, it was when it was one of my Eli he threw on the World Cup game, and I forgot who was playing, but I think It must have been I think it was the Spain Netherlands game
Oh,
when Spain got absolutely destroyed.
yeah,
And I like saw that and I was like, no way this can happen in like the
yeah.
World Cup. So once I saw that and saw that it was like what
Now I'm in.
5-2, something ridiculous like that, I was like, oh, so you can get crazy scores in here too. Okay, interesting. So I think that's what's maybe spawned me
Spawned it.
a little bit. The fact that seeing like so many goals scored and seeing a team get so humiliated, because even the commentators were like, "This is never, oh my god,
This doesn't happen
This
already."
doesn't happen. These were the former World Cup champions." I was like, "Damn, okay, so if these champs are getting blown out, like, what's gonna happen?"
Anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen. Then
I mean, that was
so-
also the World Cup where you saw 7-1 Germany versus Brazil.
exactly 7-1 Germany, and I
Which
think
was
at
so
that point-
crazy.
at that time, I was rooting for Germany against Brazil, but that was when I didn't realize how good Neymar was, and then he got injured, and then once I found out how good he was, I knew they weren't gonna.
Yeah.
It was one of those where I was like, okay, I could.
Had Neymar
as a-
been there,
yeah,
I don't think they would have won though. But
even
it
if
would
he
have
was
been.
there. Yeah, I don't think even if he was there, they still would have been able to.
But
at
they
least-
would have lost. I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it would have been closer.
More, it
wouldn't have been 7-1.
It wouldn't have been 7-1. No. But shout out Oscar. He did get that one goal.
I guess. Yeah.
Probably why it spawned the.
That was the best vibes World Cup though.
That was-
like
that was
the Brazil World
literally-
Cup, the intro,
Yeah,
the vibes.
and that's what I remember, and I think that's what made me fall in love with the sport, because it was such
The
a
vibes,
vibe,
yeah.
a vibey, like I guess the aura around it in a sense was just so.
The
nice.
only other World Cup recently that's had similar vibes, and I'm honestly shocked to say this, I didn't think it was going to be good, was 2022 in Qatar.
Well, and I think that's also just because of Messi and like
Yeah,
Ronaldo
well, I'm a big
and
fan.
knowing
Messi
them
and
that
Ronaldo,
they're-
and yeah.
it's their.
Well,
Who
we
knows,
thought
you know,
we thought it was
Yeah,
their
exactly, you know,
but
we
like they're
thought,
only
but-
a year away.
Yeah, they're literally only a year away. So realistically, I mean, they could participate in it and just
Round
not
two,
have
the last
that,
dance, round two.
You know, like, and they just don't. They might not play that pivotal of a role because of how old they are, but they could still be on there. And logically, I mean, you still have Messi and Ronaldo on your team, so
Yeah.
anything can happen.
The psychological effect.
Psychological effect of having those type of players on your team.
Well,
will
they both
always
still
be-
start, but
Yeah,
but like
they do.
just also knowing that like that's on the bench.
Exactly.
Like if you're like in Australia
Yes.
and you're like maybe you're doing good
we're-
against an Argentina.
maybe it's 2-1 or 2-0.
But then you look over and you see
Messi warming up. Yeah,
You're like, oh
if
no.
if you're what? Let's use.
If you're like, even if you're Canada, right, and you're playing,
Yeah.
if you're playing Portugal,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
see Ronaldo like ominously standing at the halfway line,
and you're Canada or U.S. going against Portugal,
and you're like,
and the
oh,
knockout stages. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's say you're doing okay.
1-0 up. And you just see Ronaldo taking off his fucking sweater,
You're like, oh.
getting warmed up. Instantly, it's like, oh man, dude.
I still think that's how they would. Some people would say like, oh no, they're past their prime, but I'm like, no. Like if you're a player and you know,
Yeah, if you've grown up watching them, you know that they're always capable.
this
of just
they
something.
could pull off something.
Yeah, and I think that's
Spectacular.
like the greatest thing in a sense about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many limited players even now. Like even like Mbappe warming up doesn't really scare me sometimes. You know, like,
No, especially since he's
Mbappe
been around
warming
me.
up, how he's been playing recently. It's kind of like
He's
take it or leave
okay.
it,
He's
you know, like he
yeah.
can play. Vinicius. It's kind of like Vinicius warming up. It's like like
There's nobody-
What is he gonna do? Argue with his teammates while he's on the pitch? You know,
There's nobody like Ronaldo and Messi currently.
Currently, I should
Like
say.
the Holland
Yeah.
for a time was touted to be, I guess, maybe one of those type of players, but like
No,
right
I
now,
agree.
no.
And same thing with Mbappe. I think it's just the fact that we are so used to something so
Great.
great.
Like Mbappe is great.
Yeah,
but he's
he
not-
isn't that level of
Like they've ruined the
that.
game.
They did
Messi and
ruin the
Ronaldo
game.
ruined the
They
game.
ruined because I was just about to say we are not seeing anybody else doing 40-goal
seasons yet.
Yet.
Because I want
Yet.
to throw something out, and people may or may not like this, but from what I'm seeing
Okay.
of a young Lamine Yamal,
Oh, I can agree with that.
there's
I can agree
a
with that.
potential. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he is.
No, there is.
But there's a potential.
There is a potential, and I feel like it's dumb to not acknowledge it because it's true.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the stuff that he's doing now at such a young age, hopefully, God forbid, knock on wood, he doesn't get any
Injury, like an Ansu Fati.
any obscure long-term injuries. I do think he will,
be in the conversation. I don't know
of
if challenge it, but
those people coming up. Because
Yeah.
even sometimes, even what Lamine Yamal is doing, those Ronaldo
There'll be
players
other
haven't
players,
really
yeah.
done at that age.
At that age,
I should say at that age, compared to a Ronaldo
True,
and Messi
yeah.
at that age, he's done a little bit more.
a little bit more, yeah.
Than those players at that age. And I feel like it's one of those things, like, if you're gonna be comparing them, it is something that's fair to compare. Like, how were they at that stage of their career?
It's the same comparison like when we talked with our parents, like at least for me, like when I talk to my family, like, oh, they keep saying like, oh, Maradona was better than Messi or Pele was this, but it's like, yeah, but the thing that I always say is Maradona and Pele were in the realm of reality. Messi and Ronaldo broke the realm of reality.
Exactly. Like, they broke what players could do in a season.
In a season and for season after season after season.
And consistently.
It was
For like 10 plus years.
seasons. So it's it's Maradona and Pele, obviously great players, definitely top 5.
Yes. Yeah.
But
yeah.
like,
No, and
it's almost like they should be in their own category.
yeah, I agree. No, because it's like, who else is getting damn near close to 60?
Well, who else is getting close to 90-something goals in a calendar year?
Oh yeah, no,
Nobody.
exactly. Nobody.
So it really is just there's nobody
Who's doing
in
that?
history or coming up currently
who has
that can
touted
be
to be
that can be
besides that besides
maybe
potentially
maybe
having
it's a
being
maybe.
able to touch
touch the conversation.
just being able
touch
to
the
grasp,
conversation. Yeah.
just being able to get up there.
Yeah, like touch
just
yeah.
being able to like dip your toe into that conversation is kind of where he's at right now. But who knows? Like, he's
young.
17.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe in 15 years we'll be looking at him and
in 15 years, the new generation of kids will be like, oh, Lamine Yamal was obviously better than Messi.
Yeah,
And we'll be the people saying, oh, Messi was obviously better.
Yeah,
Ronaldo was
so much, So I agree. Like, it's just one of those things where he does. I feel like he genuinely does have that.
He's the only one that is shown consistently.
Like, he can
potential.
potentially be on that level.
Yeah.
I agree. Especially with that roadie in the Euros.
Yeah, he was. I think that's what kind of
was-
set him apart. Like he was obviously good at Barcelona.
Yeah.
The Euros really, I guess, solidified him as like, okay, this is one to actually watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's the players that like they do good, they're young, and then
Like,
they just
Foden,
become
Wirtz,
normal.
and who else? Foden. You got
Jude Bellingham,
Xavi Simmons.
Great when they were young. They obviously everybody said, "Oh yeah, these are the next guys."
Yeah,
but
like when they're teenagers, and now that they're kind of getting into
they're
their
better than
20s.
average, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Musiala, like players like that. It's like like they're coming up, they're doing their thing, but they're not like
they're not. I think Lamine Yamal has done more than all of them.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Even like Cole Palmer,
Yeah.
like I don't think I can put Cole Palmer.
I don't think he's in the conversation.
I think like if you were to tell me like, would you rather have Cole Palmer or Lamine? I'd rather have Lamine.
Oh yeah.
Like without.
It doesn't even matter who you like. I think if you told any fan in the world, would you rather have your current winger or Lamine Yamal?
Yeah, literally. If I like, come on, that would be like an instant.
Like, you would have to have some like crazy take.
Yeah, you would have to be insane to not.
Like even a Mo Salah.
Yeah.
Because Mo Salah's coming to the end of his career. Like obviously you pick
if I could have it if I could have Mo Salah keep playing the way that he's playing, or Lamine Yamal, I'd rather pick Lamine Yamal.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But that's just me. Just for the potential, like just because who knows?
He has the ability currently too.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like who knows? 2 years, Mo Salah can have an ankle injury, and boom, now he's retired.
Well, yeah, I mean he's already getting up there in age anyway. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
If he can have one slightly major injury, and at that point, if you're at that point in your career, like it's just all right.
It is true that like the fact of the matter is like players are playing longer though.
Yeah, but they are playing more games.
Yeah.
So it's like, but meanwhile they are
Playing longer?
they are playing more games. So
Each
that
season, yeah.
like Carvajal just tore his ACL recently, or
I did not know that.
I think it was either him or Rodri too. I think Rodri tore his ACL.
Rodri tore his ACL, I think, or something with his knee, like at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
like he's
it's-
out for the whole season.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Which is
But
crazy, though.
But I'm pretty sure it was Carvajal or it was some Real
Gavi.
Madrid.
Gavi. It might have been Gavi. Gavi was out until recently, but he's a Barcelona player, so I'm not sure if you're
'Cause
thinking
I
about
know
the
it
same
was
injury.
somebody had torn their ACL again.
It is
but-
a. It is. That's a whole nother topic.
But who knows? Maybe that's why Chelsea bought all those. Maybe that's why Chelsea bought 1,000 players, and they're just expecting the games to constantly keep
I
going.
think
up, you know?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Hot take. I think that's gonna come back to bite you in the butt.
Dude, I
having all the
don't
players.
know. I wholeheartedly don't know why we are buying so many players. Because it's getting to the point where
When are
like
you
we
gonna
bought
play?
João Felix, and he's not getting playing time.
Exactly.
And I'm genuinely like upset at that because it's like, why are we gonna buy somebody just to loan him out,
Just to sit there.
Just to sit
or
there.
sit there. Yeah.
and then now he's gonna come back just to sit there?
Yeah.
You like, there's just no point.
I also think that eventually, like, you put players on like 8-year contracts.
Yeah, and
So like in like 8 years, you're still like, say this player retires for some strange reason, you're still paying his
Hey,
transfer fee,
which is-
and his contract.
no, I agree, but I think a lot of those are with a lot of younger players. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
put like God, oh my
But also
God,
FFP
man.
wise though, FFP wise, I think eventually you're gonna get to a
They're
point where
gonna
like,
they're gonna do something to where we can't sign as many players like we are,
Or
That's why
any
we're-
players, yeah.
yeah, or we can't sign any players like how we did get that original transfer ban. That's why
Yeah.
that's why Mason Mount. That's why you guys got Mason Mount.
we got him for a cut price, but I'm still not happy about Mason Mount being at
No,
United.
I don't know, man. If
He would,
fell off.
if he wouldn't be so injury prone and we could actually see him play, fine. But
Yeah,
right now,
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I
I
can see
can't
that.
justify being happy about Mason Mount
Mason
being here
Mount,
because he's just
yeah.
been injured the whole time.
No, I can see that.
So it's
but
like-
I mean, like Raheem Sterling, I do
Yeah,
not
what was
know
that about?
why we still have him. I think he's on loan in Arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't you haven't even sold that guy. How are we not able to sell Raheem Sterling?
Well, it's because you put him on
But-
like a 5-year contract and he's like almost in his 30s.
Why, dude? It's
Who's
like,
gonna
why?
buy out a 30-year contract
Like-
or a 5-year contract on a
It's
30-year-old?
like, dude, what are we doing, man? And it sucks because the owner is, yes, he owns the Dodgers, and yes, the Dodgers won a World Series last year.
That's baseball,
But-
though. That's baseball. That's completely
yeah,
different.
dude. Like that's baseball. I get it. You don't want to start fucking up your cash cow in the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Because he does have Shohei Ohtani, and I don't even know who else. But
This is all I think, 'cause
Freddie
I don't
Freeman.
follow any of
You know,
these,
he does
yeah.
have a lot of other players like that. But like, come on, man. Like,
I
at
honestly,
least put the same amount of effort you're putting into your MLB team into your Chelsea team.
I think this is a hot take, right? So I feel like a lot of American people are gonna get mad at me,
What?
but I feel like a lot of American sports are solely cash sports, as in like they're just franchises. Like there's still a heart and soul because of the fans, but if it wasn't because of the fans, it would just be like a franchise thing. And I feel like American owners in European sports, where like the teams are meant to be more than just like cash cows, like a United, like the Glazers have sucked United dry.
Yeah, they have.
Eventually, I feel like Todd Bowley, even though he invests so much in Chelsea, will want to return and he'll suck it dry. The
will.
the
No, he
Kroenke
will.
guy at Liverpool, yeah, Liverpool are doing okay, but they've somehow lucked out that they've got the players that they got because realistically, he's also been sucking the club. I think
Yeah.
American owners are some of the worst owners
And I think
in sports.
And the thing is too, I can acknowledge that, and I do think you are right. To an extent, because Todd Bowley wants to bring in the idea of trades, which is okay in concept,
Yeah.
right? Trying to add something else to the game, like a player. All it really is just player swaps.
Yeah, it's players, which
that's-
they're already in the game.
which
You
they're
can
in the
swap
game
players
already,
You can
you know?
swap players in soccer,
But
football.
I feel the
but-
same. And that's also
just
where
doesn't
I
happen.
agree with you because
Yeah.
it's like, yes, he wants to innovate and bring something else,
Make it more popular, I
make it
guess.
more popular, whatever the case is. And I think maybe the only reason why he's adding the idea of trades is to bring in more U.S. attention to it, because in all U.S. sports, which is why I kind of get a little bit pissed off at it. You do gotta trade somebody. Like if you want an all-star, you gotta give me like
Somebody
damn
good.
near your future if you want my all-star.
Yeah.
Which is so dumb because it's like when I have talked to my friends about soccer and the trade, well, I guess the transfers that are going on and trying to correlate it to trades, they don't understand the concept of buying players.
But like swaps are already like United swapped Alexis Sanchez
Yeah,
for Mkhitaryan.
yeah,
Like, that was a
no,
player swap.
yeah.
So like swaps exist in
But
football.
I think it's just because they're not as frequent.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what he's trying to. Maybe that's why he signed all those players onto 8.
I guess trying to make it
year-
more frequent.
Make it more frequent to where, like, let's say you're
But I think the
Kobe
law,
Manu, right? You're trying to sell him, but
Instead
we
of trade
have
him.
yeah. Let's make a trade to where.
but I feel like the
you
issue
know,
though with soccer though is like we have FFP.
yeah.
So FFP screws it up because a trade only works I guess to balance the books if like the players are similar in value.
Yeah,
Because like
Yeah,
if I give you Kobe Mainu and Kobe Mainu's valued, which I don't think we should ever do. I'm really upset that United are considering selling
Selling
Kobe
him.
Mainu
Yeah.
just to raise funds, which really
Yeah.
pisses me off. But I digress. It's one of those things where it's like I just don't think the way that trades work in American sports would work in a European
no, and I
system.
think the Europeans themselves aren't going to be happy with it because it's like.
Oh, I'm not happy with it. I'm American.
Because it's like, why make such a big difference? Why make such a big change?
Deal out of it, yeah.
Like to it, when stuff like that happens anyways.
Yeah.
You know, like player swaps happen. It's just
Not as
It's just
frequently.
not on the level of like. Well, I don't know if you've recently heard, but this Luka and AD trade.
Oh, is it the guy in basketball?
Yeah.
I heard
That
about
was
that.
such a crazy trade.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that where like you not that you don't get that in soccer.
You do.
Crazy transfers of 100x to million to what.
Yeah, well, it's
But
just based all
You're
on
not giving
money
your
though.
future.
Yeah.
Like these guys they didn't even give too much up to
Buy or trade him.
trade him. But if it was like an actual good trade, you would have traded essentially your future for that one player.
Which I don't think. Like I feel
Which
like
I
teams-
agree. Like, what are you gonna do? They don't even have draft picks. Like, what? Like, what's the point of?
yeah.
You know, like, what am I'm gonna trade
Which you should. Why?
two players on my youth academy, and then
Which I think draft
one
picks. I
starter.
don't even understand draft picks, and I don't think they should be anywhere near soccer.
No, and that's why the MLS. I feel like the MLS is so like odd like,
When it comes to a
odd
soccer
it
league.
and just so displaced to other soccer leagues because like they do have an MLS draft, which
Makes
which
sense
makes no
to
sense.
every other league.
Yeah, to every other league, especially with the fact that like I think with the MLS you can only sign 3 non-US.
But
players or
that's the
something
same thing
weird.
in like every other league though.
But
Like in Spain, you can only have 3 non-EU players.
I get it, but it's also like let's be honest. You're gonna be a lot more technically gifted playing in Spain than you are gonna be playing
Yeah.
here. You know, so in that aspect, it's like all right. Well,
That's
if
just
you,
like
if
the-
you want your, I get it. Maybe instead of keeping it to 3, get it to like 6 or something.
Build up
Build up
MLS.
to where at least you can attract your like. Europeans or
Make the MLS more
South
competitive.
Americans or whatever. Yeah, make it more competitive, just so that way we're able. It's a win-win for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
the people playing in the U.S. are playing at a higher competitive pace because of these other players, and those guys are so able to knock out what they'd probably be here in their 30s anyways. Everybody comes here to retire. So
For the
Messi's here
most
to
part.
retire. Like come
For
on,
the
let's
most
be
part.
honest.
Is he? I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the way Messi's. I mean, he's still playing relatively good for his age.
Yeah, but like, and I feel like that's the whole reason why he's been able to last so long now is because he's playing in
the MLS.
Miami. He's playing in a warm weather climate. He's playing in the U.S. He can basically like work when he wants to. Like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
play this game. I don't feel like playing this game.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess. Yeah.
Like, that's why I feel like I'm praying he goes to the next World Cup because if he keeps playing the way he is, where he's like, I don't feel like playing.
If
this
Messi
game,
wins
and then he plays
if
this
Messi
game,
wins back-to-back World Cups, that's box office.
that would be insane. Let's hope, dude. Let's hope.
And honestly, because the Simpsons prediction might still work.
It's
Maybe,
still-
maybe it'll be a Portugal-Argentina final.
Argentina final. Who knows? You know,
That'd be
it's
crazy.
still.
We're still a long time away from
Yeah,
it.
it's
Though.
still a year away. I mean, so it's still. I mean, next summer. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of time.
It's coming,
away,
though.
so-
It's
But
coming.
yeah, it'll be here before you know it. So summer's already essentially here. It's gonna be April. One more month after that,
Yeah.
May, and then one more month after that, it's June.
Yeah.
2 months, and we're in summer, technically.
Well, we gave you guys a little bit more content than what we expected to in this first episode, but I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys liked our conversation, or if you guys have anything you'd like us to talk about,
Yes,
leave a comment down
absolutely.
below.
Yes.
Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and let us know, guys, what you guys think. Do you
Yeah.
guys agree with some of our takes? Some of our takes might be
Controversial takes, but,
some
you
of them
know.
might be wild.
Yeah, some of them might be wild, some of them might be common, some of them might be fair,
Yeah.
some of them might be a bit more of a casual perspective, but who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But we'll see you guys in the next episode.